Hi and welcome to another Type with me. In today's video I want to talk about generics with arrow functions in Typescript. So generics are a great function within programming languages and also within Typescript. Here you define generic, right? And we just give it a T. We can give it a U as well, for example. And then of course you need to put here also a U and here also a U. And then we can very easily say, okay, const v equals pick value. And then we have here, for example, string. Of course, we need to provide a string. And then we know that we get a string back, right? Because that's the idea. You just provide something like this. And he changes U into the type string of a value string, because U is also there, a type, and then we return a string. We could do the same thing with const n from number, pick value, number, and then we provide something like this, right? So these are generics, and I hope you already know what they are. They are very powerful, and I really like to use them. Of course, you can say, okay, I want a U that extends from something else, and then, of course, you only can provide a type there that extends from something. You can really go crazy into generics, but that's for another video. So I'm going to show you a little bit about how to shorten this, right? So we can very easily shorten this by just doing something like this. We can create an arrow function, pick a value. So this is shorter, right? We can just say that we want to have something like this. And then it needs to be having a value, right? That's the same like here. And of course, the return type, the return needs to be T, and it will return a value, right? Which is just our arrow function. So here we say that we want to return our generic, right? And here we do it like that as well. And then of course the sortage within our arrow function is just like this, right? So actually we don't need to provide our generic, right? So if we do something like this, you see that we get our generic, and our generic becomes, in this case, a string, right? But that's okay. It just interferes, and he interprets that, yeah, the value of v is of type string. If we do that with 12, we get here that we have 12 right here. But he doesn't complain about it. He's just saying that it's a string or it's just 12. It's the exact value that we have right there. And if you don't need to change v or n, that's okay. So I could provide something like this. I could have a type SSN, and we can have something like this. We can have some kind of test, right? And then if I provide right here then you see that we get an error because it's not of that type, right? And then if I provide something like this, I do ID, now he is happy, right? And of course we get SSN back. I'm just gonna change that to result. And then of course I can do something like this. Console.log is SSN. If I save that and I do dyno run index.ts, we get true back because it's true, right? If I change this to to, for example, number, you say explicitly that you want to have a number there, and then we get false, right? So it's a great check. Of course, if I then here change it to number, you will see that we get here an error, of course, because he wants to have a number right here. So I can put here 1, 2, 3, 4, for example. I just rerun this, and then you see that we get true back. So we could, for example, do SSN extended version, you say your name, I put my name here, Joris, for example. If I now put that right here, I will complain because he needs to have something like this, name Joris. If I execute this, we get true back because it has a number, and we have some kind of validation, right? Because we can then see, okay, is it really a SSN? You could also very easily do something like this. Then you'll see here, of course, that it is using that, right? You say value is SSNX. With generics, we can also very easily use classes, right? And this could be something like this, right? And then if we say, okay, I want to have const, for example, my name equals person, and then we do something like this. All right, of course, we don't have that. We have this one, right? Now we have that. And I'm gonna put it like this. And then I can say Joris dot identity. And then you see here that we have some kind of t is declared, but it's never been used or read. What we could do right here is just put that away, and then you see that he uses the t that we have right here. So you need to be aware of that, because otherwise you think, hey, I have something like this, and then you have also this one, but that's never been read, and then you think that he's using SSNX. But then you see here that that's not true, right? Because here you see here we have unknown, value unknown, and it returns unknown. So I would recommend to use it like this. Now we get here SSNX that we can very easily use. And then of course I need to use it, so I just say ID. And I can now do Joris.print, right? So he will print out something in the console, so we just do that. But he says that member info implicitly has an any type. So what we could do right here is also have something like this. Save it, of course. And then you just run it. He says that we don't have an initializer for that. What we could do, maybe something like this. You see, it's not always that kind of easy, but we will find a way to make it work. Of course, I need to save this one. See that it just crashes again. We need to have some kind of identifier for that. What I would do then, you do something like this. Maybe just to have it a little bit easier. And then you see that he could not initialize that. So one thing to solve this is just put this in here, right? If we now execute this one, you will see that it works. So it's important to say, okay, it can be undefined, otherwise you get that annoying error. So this will solve it, and then of course if we do a print, you will see here that my name says joris.print. You will then do a console.log and we get some info back. So it's very easy to use generics, but you need to just put your way around it and use it wisely, right? Like I said, you could do this, but then you see here that yeah, we have some problems because of course we have also t defined globally, and yeah, we get some errors right here. For example, this one would work, right? But then yeah, it will give us a nasty error, right? Member info explicitly has an any type. What we could do then is do something like this, any. And then again, you get some mess, right? It still works, but it's strange. And here you will see that we still get something that's been provided right here. But we could very easily do, for example, also bogus flat. And then you see that this still works, but then yeah, you said, okay, I want to have that explicit type right there. So yeah, this one is not the way to go, right? I would prefer to do it like this. If you use classes, use your generics globally. You see here, hey, I'm not happy. It needs to be Joris. You can also remove, for example, the question marks right here. These are not necessary. Of course, I need to put Joris right here, and then it says, yeah, property flat. I don't know that. So you really get more safety on your types right there. So if you run it in again, you see, okay, you get that error again. So we put this one right there. And we run it again, and hey, everything works. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something from it. That's why I'm creating these kind of videos, to walk you through certain specific things around Typescript. And today we went over generics, and generics with arrow functions more particularly, but I hope you also understand a little bit of the generics and why we are using them. Thank you very much, and see you next time.